So I think, sorry about that, ran into some technical difficulties. Um, and all of a sudden it just dropped the signal. So, all right, see, one person's back. um, oh, sorry about that. Yeah, it just seemed like it just dropped and then I couldn't figure out how to get it back. So, anyway, I was in the middle of talking about talking about writing using these prompts, and so yeah, so the all these activities that I've been doing so far have been giving me something to start with, giving me some ideas, some prompts, some things to begin with. And so I want to do some writing now. It's a technique that is called stream of consciousness writing. And it's something that I've been using a lot for the past 20 years. It's something that's in the books that I wrote. It's something that Dave and I teach in all of our workshops. But stream of consciousness writing is great for generating ideas. And if you're not familiar with it, it's also known as free writing. And the idea is that we just start writing and we just let the words flow. And I always say it's like our brain is connected to our hand, and we're just recording the thoughts, the words that are going through our brain. So what I like to do is have a prompt in mind, something to guide it. And this is loosely based on Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way. And if you're familiar with that, in The Artist's Way, she talks about the morning pages and writing 3 pages of longhand every morning. But she says not to read it. Her idea is that you do it in the morning and it's a brain dump. And so we're going to do that. We're going to kind of dump our brains, but we're going to do it very purposefully. And what I like to do is time it. So anyway, what you can do is you can choose a word or a prompt that you've already come up with. So let me go ahead and switch back. Let's see. All right, so I might choose one of my words here that I came up with in the Blackout Poetry. Maybe I want to choose one of these words, or maybe I want to go back to one of my first original 5 big ideas. Okay, so look through those, and if you feel like, hey, one of those is really standing out, awesome, use that. But I'm going to give you a couple other options as well. So one of the other options is to use what I refer to as dualistic pairs. And so this is great for doing writing maybe in the same day, or coming back to a similar topic. And a dualistic pair is, think of it as sort of opposites. So one of my favorite things to write about, and it actually ties into identity, is I am. So starting out with that phrase, I am, as a prompt. And then the dualistic pair to that would be I am not. So oftentimes whenever I'm thinking about these dualistic pairs, it's about I am, because I want to make it, or I put I in there because I want to make it personal. And so another pair would be I believe, I don't believe. Another one might be I hope, I fear. And so maybe you can think of your own dualistic pair, or use one of those that I mentioned. So what if you're following along and you want to do this with me, kind of pick one of those words. Don't start writing yet. I want to explain the writing part of it. So we're going to do a stream of consciousness writing. And like I said, it's like our head is connected directly to our hand, and we're recording the words. And the notion is to write without stopping, to write and not stop and just let the words flow. And it's a stream. And so you're just letting the words, the thoughts come. And so whatever you're thinking, that's what you're writing. So it's natural for this to go kind of off course or off topic. Actually, that's perfect. And it's perfect if you stay on topic. So as you're writing, if you come to a point where you're like, I can't think of anything to write about, don't stop and put the pen to your mouth and go, what should I write about now? Because if you're thinking that, what should I be writing about now? That's what you should be writing. So you're really recording your thoughts. So the idea is to write without stopping, and we're going to do it for 7 minutes. And I like that number 7 because it really helps. It's a good time, and we can really get a lot of writing, and we can generate ideas. And that's what we're using this as. We're using it as a way to generate ideas, maybe to deal with something, to reflect on something. So anyway, let's go ahead and go back to the workspace. So you could do it in your journal. You could find a space, and I've actually done that. So this page was done using water-soluble pencil, so using those Inktense pencils, and I did that. And but you could also do it on just some regular paper. So you might grab a piece of drawing paper, but what I really like is I like using the tracing paper. So the tracing paper is pretty awesome because it is transparent. So I can write on it, tear it out, and then use it in my journal. So I'm gonna set a timer. Let me pull it up on my phone. Okay, so we're gonna set a timer, and here's what we're gonna do. Hopefully you have a paper, you have a pencil or a pen, something to write with, and you have a word, a prompt. I think I'm going to use I am. So you could use that whatever prompt you want from whatever we've done, and then instead of writing right now, I'm going to take a minute. So I want everyone to take a minute to start kind of composing, to start thinking, and I'll set a timer and I'll include that first minute, and just think about writing that, like composing that first sentence. So that way when I say go after the minute's up, then you could write, and we'll write for 7 whole minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the timer. Maybe. Gotta love technology. Okay, so I'm gonna start the timer. So just take a minute to think. Just take a minute to think about your word, your prompt, starting to compose that first sentence. Okay, so you have 7 minutes. Go ahead and start writing, and I'll let you know when we have about a minute left, and then we'll go ahead and stop. Okay, so there's about a minute left. You can kind of start thinking about how you're going to wrap up the last sentence or wrap up your final thoughts. Okay, about 30 seconds left. All right. Well, according to my timer, it's been 7 minutes. So the idea now is to go back and look over your writing. It's maybe not necessary to go back and read over it word for word, but I want you to look for 3, 4, or 5 words or short phrases that appeal to you, things that are popping out at you. So again, words or short phrases, and kind of trust your gut with this. And what I want you to do is to highlight them, circle them, bring attention to them somehow so that you know that they're there. So if I take my writing and I'm just looking over it, I'm just going to circle words. Now, one of the things is you might not want to circle the prompt that you started with. So I'm not going to circle I am, but there's all these other things that are kind of that have popped up that I want to do. So just take a moment or two and go back and find these. I call these operative words. They're key words in what we've been reading. So anyway, just kind of 3, 4, or 5 more if you really feel like it. So I can take those 3, 4, 5 words. I chose 5 words, and maybe I want to go back to my journal. Maybe I want to find that page where I was keeping a list. Maybe I want to add to the list. And so those words then can become more prompts, more ideas. And what I find is that when I do this writing, a lot of times some of the same things come up again and again. Darn it. Oh, okay, it looks like it came back, maybe. Nope. Okay, it looks like lost the feed, but it looks like it's back up now. Sorry about that. Must be a lot of internet traffic tonight. So anyway, so I've got this going. Darn it. Sorry, keep having some of these problems. All right, so hopefully now it's gonna behave itself. Sorry about that. I don't know what the deal is. Probably just this time of night, a lot of people online. So anyway, as I was saying, I can use this. I can use these words now and use it for future prompts. So that's basically what I was going to say. I'm going to share kind of one more idea. I was thinking about doing it, but with all the technical difficulties, one of the things that I've done with the tracing paper, I'm going to go ahead and try this out. It's translucent, and there's a reason why I like using it, because it's translucent. And if I open up my book, when I lay it down, what's underneath shows through. But what I like to do is to take watercolor paint and paint it, and that's what I did. If you tuned in yesterday morning, I have this writing that goes through the first few pages, and that's tracing paper, and you can see that it's colored. Here it's pink, here it turns to blue, and that's because I painted it with watercolor. And then what I did was I cut it up. So this is perfect for cutting into strips, or if you wrote something where you don't want anybody to see it, you could rip it up and glue it in. So you can kind of do that as well. So yeah, so that's something to kind of think about with that. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Sorry that I had so many technical problems with this. Like I said, just the stream cut out a couple times. I know that's not the first time that's ever happened to people, but anyway, hopefully you got it resolved, and hopefully it won't happen in the future. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in, and thanks for staying with me if you've stayed through it all. Really appreciate you being here. So yeah, so if you're journaling and you're working with stuff and you feel like writing, maybe you don't write a lot, this is a perfect time to start using some of your own writing and doing some of those things in there. And yeah, so just a few ideas. So you could make a list, you could pick random words, you could do the blackout poetry, stream of consciousness, using dualistic pairs. So it doesn't always just have to be that same old sort of like Dear Diary kind of writing that maybe you think about whenever you think about journaling. So yeah, so if you've got questions or comments or concerns, please pop them into the comments. And let me see if anybody has any questions before I sign off. Okay, so yeah, so if you, like I said, if you got any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments. And if you are a member of the Journal Fodder Junkies online workshop, remember you can upload images there, show off what you're doing, or if you want to leave images, put images in the comments, let people see what you've been up to, because now we're starting, if you've been following along, this is the fourth one, and maybe what you've been working on is starting to add up. But you know what? Share those works in progress. It's always nice to see the process that people are going through. So so thanks so much, and thanks for sticking with me through all the technical difficulties. So enjoy working in your journal, and as always, happy creating.